We often get asked, what's the difference between portals and long travel? What's the benefits of one? What's the benefits of the other? So let's break it down, Curt. Let's talk benefits of long travel. Let's talk benefits of portal and why we choose what we choose.
Well, for us, it's pretty simple. We do long travel and portals quite frequently, but if you're choosing between one and the other, riding style and what you do is really where you should make this decision. The thing you get out of portals is you get gear reduction with it. You don't get that out of long travel, but essentially you're doing a long travel kit with both of them. So in order to have a properly riding suspension, you want more articulation out of it. You want it to absorb bumps or whoops or anything. It's like the longer you make it, the more articulation you get out of it. Case in point, if my arm moves this much and I add this to it, it moves more on the outside. And so you get a better ride quality either way with either setup. So the big question is what do you do as far as your riding, your terrain that you ride the most? If you're a dune guy, portals are probably not the best answer for you. We take portals to the dunes frequently, but there's more maintenance when it comes to that kind of style with portals on there. Long travel kits will ride a lot better. You'll be a lot more stable. And if you have portals, you're going to ride a lot better. You're going to be more stable. With a portal, you get gear reduction, so you can run a bigger tire without having to change the gearing in the transmission. And then you also get 4 inches of lift. And it's like we like to keep our center point balance low, but when you're adding the weight of portals and the weight of a tire, even though the car's going up, you are going wider, and it keeps the center point lower than it does factory, so it rides better for us.
Right, and that's always been one of the biggest benefits that I like, is that we're able to run those 35, 37-inch tires without transferring all that added weight through the drivetrain.
Right.
As opposed to the portal takes that strain.
Right. So that's the argument that goes on with it, is because portals, people talk about the maintenance that comes along with them. And ultimately, when you're adding a lot of rolling mass, you have to build the car around portals. It's not quite as easy as just throwing a long travel kit on. We do frame reinforcements. You got to run, everything's got to be heavy duty, all your suspension components that are on there. So, it's like there is some maintenance involved in that, but the long term of it is, if you drive hard and you want to run big tires and you're not running portals, you're going to break far more parts than if you were running them. We've been down that road. We spent a ton of money going down that road. We broke a lot of axles. We chewed through belts a lot. We broke ball joints, tie rod ends, all of it. And when we went to portals with big tires, because of the gear reduction, it's a lot easier on the car. The geometry is correct on the suspension, so you're not chewing through parts the same. And now, to be really fair, in the last 5 years, parts have gotten so much better, we're really not doing much for maintenance anyway. We're changing the oil in them maybe once or twice a year, depending on how many times we drive the cars.
Right.
We don't break ball joints anymore, tie rod ends, any of that kind of stuff.
No, and outside of that, just before big trips and things, we like to give the machine a shakedown, check A-arm bolts, right. And just a good once over.
Right, but it's like that maintenance that comes through, we do that before we head out. It's just kind of what we do. But ultimately, if you drive a car hard, you're doing it anyway. And it's like the parts have gotten so much better now that it's like it's not near as much as it was 4 or 5 years ago. But it's like, for me, I'm a portal guy. SlikRok has always been portal guys. You're a portal guy. We've always been that way. We have cars that we run long travel and portals. We get a lot of articulation out of them. The bigger you go and the longer you go, the more maintenance you're going to have at the end of the day. But, fundamentally, just to put portals on a car and build some suspension components, there's a lot of reliability that's there now, and it's really not problematic like it was years ago. Gotcha. The portals are better, the ball joints are better, the A-arms are better, our reinforcement plates are better, axles are better, everything's just better.
Like you said, it has come a really long ways.
Yeah. So, like, for me, it's just kind of a no-brainer now. If you were to ask me that same question 5 years ago, you're really getting down to riding style and how much effort and money you want to put into a machine. But in this day and age now, we have always felt like bigger's better. We have a lot of combos we like. You guys can reach out with any questions you want on there. But when it comes down, if I was strictly a dune guy, I would just run a long travel kit. But you have to ask yourself, where is 80, 90% of your riding you do? Are you a trail rider? Are you a rock crawler? Do you spend a lot of time in the mountains? If you're a mountain guy, you might not necessarily need portals, for trail riding. But our favorite cars in the mountains are portal cars because they articulate, they absorb.
They just ride
so much better. The ride quality just goes up so much. It's just a lot more comfortable car. Yeah. So for that alone, even our Rangers, we don't rock crawl them, but it's like you take a factory Ranger and you put portals on it, the ride quality is 50, 60% better just from the long travel on there. You take and put a long travel kit on a Ranger and portals, the thing turns into a Cadillac. Like I said, it just comes down to articulation, to suspension movement when you go through Johnson rebound.
Right. So with portals, just so everybody knows, you gain 4 inches per side.
Correct.
With it. So you're gaining about 8 inches overall in width, which is pretty typical with most long travels.
Yeah, most
as
long
well.
travel kits are 2.5, 3 inches, somewhere in there. So I mean, you're anywhere from 5 to 6 inches, for the most part. So portals are probably a little bit bigger overall. There are some other kits out there. HCR's got some 5-inch kits, I believe. So you can go a little wider on a long travel kit. But really, to answer that question, we just get this question a lot about portals and long travel. It really depends on your riding style. If it's a cost issue, I mean, really, depending on the kit you buy, there's a lot of unanswered stuff there. You can go as far as you want, or you can go as minimal as you want when it comes to this. But what it really comes down to for me is when we get asked that question, it's just riding style. If 70, 80, 90% of your riding is in the mountains or on the rocks or on the trails, portals are a wonderful way to go. But if you're a dune guy, long travel kits just make a lot more sense to me.
Gotcha. So to sum it up quick, just recap. Give me some quick fire shots of portal benefits, long travel benefits. We'll close it out.
The long travel benefit has 2. One, cosmetically, they look cool. The bigger stance you have on them, the better they look. But the big benefit is just ride quality. The longer your suspension is, the more it'll articulate, the better ride quality you get. So there's your long travel benefits. The portal side of it is just a lot more deeper than that because you have gear reduction and you have lift that comes along with it. So you get long travel out of it, you get gear reduction, so you can figure out what gear ratio you want to run in your portal as a comparison to what size tire you want to run. So if you want to run, say, a 35-inch tire, you get a 30% reduction. You do the math on what it comes with factory in the tire size. You want to go 30% bigger on a tire, go 30% bigger, go a 30% reduction. So your car will handle like a factory machine. It'll keep the same speeds. There's a big myth out there that if you put portals on cars, you can't do over 30 miles an hour. That is a lie and a half. And anybody who regurgitates that, I will call every one of you guys out. And so we have cars that do 70, 80 miles an hour on portals. We do it all the time. If you go down 30% in gear, you go up 30% in tire, it's the exact same. It does not change. You get a little more rolling mass out of it. It may slow you down a hair. We have a ton of videos in our archives of this racing portal cars to stock cars. You really won't notice a difference in them. But the gear reduction in them allows for bigger tires. You get lift out of it. You get a lot more bang for the buck, in my opinion, with portals, as long as you're not a dune guy. If you're a dune guy, buy a long travel kit. You'll be a lot happier with that. Anything outside of that, we portal our lawnmowers. I'd recommend it for anything.